What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Torchlight Infinite video. Today I wanted to go over the top 3 builds that I have played this league, the reasons why I played them, right, and the reasons why, I moved from one to the other, which one is good for which content you're trying to do, things of that nature. And yeah, so as someone who's played like 8 or 9 builds now, um, I've played almost everything out that people have put out, except for the Moto build, just because I'm not doing any boss farming or anything like that. And outside of that, he's like extremely slow mapper compared to some of these other builds that I do have in my best slot. So yeah, let's get into it, and I'll show you the 3 builds, um, when I use them, where I use them, and the reason why I consider these the top 3 for the league. So let's get in game. All right, now that we're in game, as you can see, the very first build that I started off this league was the Erika Berserking Blade build, right? The reason why I chose this as one of the top 3 is because it's a very good starter build, right? You go through the campaign very smoothly with it. It progresses through the maps very easily. It's not super costly to get all the way to where you can just do T7 maps. And as you can see from my movements, that she's very fast, right? So the start of the league, it's all about who can get there fast, who can get the stuff, who can get it to drop, and then sell it as quickly as you can so you can make some more currency, right? So that's the reason why she's in my top 3. I really don't think there's any changes that need to be done to her. I hope going into season 3 that they make no changes to her. I don't feel like she's so overpowered that she breaks the game. Um, so yeah, this is the deck stacking Erika, right? As you can see, we got some basic swords on. Uh, so we can stack decks. We're doing lightning damage per decks. We got high dexterity, attack speed, critical strike rating, right? And all the other pieces of gear for the most part are just high dex. What resistance I need? Life, added lightning damage resistance. So nothing crazy going on here, right? 1% damage per 15. Deck stacking also gives us very good attack speed and evasion per dex, right? So as you can see right here, the higher dex we get, the more evasion we get. And evasion's a very good defense, right? Go without getting hit, then you don't take any damage, right? So um, nothing crazy on the gear, right? We're just going for high dex, and you can push this build as far as you want, right? There are some like crazy deck stacking builds out there that are pushing in game content, no problem. But this right here was my uh, beginner league start build, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was get to maps as fast as possible, not cost me a whole lot of currency to get up and running, right? And I didn't have to go crazy into it to get like a whole lot of things done. I was able to do this small investment into it and then start saving up all my money for my next build. So um, nothing crazy on the gloves, right? We're using falling leaves for 6% additional attack damage. You can also get a false gods necklace um, for damage per dex or per level. So nothing crazy there. We're gonna go look at the hero traits, right? So the best ones we can get are some just deck stacking. For every dex one you engrave is an increase to your dex, right? So you get 24 here, and then you put 2 more, you get 25, 25, right? And then same thing for each one of these. You get 24, you get 24, 24, right? My hero relic isn't even like that crazy, right? Attack speed, multi strike deals 11% increased damage. But you can do like hero memory effects, which increases your dex even more. Increased attack speed, like a higher tier, increased attack speed. I just, like I said, I didn't even invest a whole lot of money into this build. It was perfect for exactly what I wanted to use it for, which is the reason why it's on this list, right? And you can see how fast she is, right? So you see how fast she is, right? Which is very nice, right? So the reason why I picked this build for the top of the list is because how fast she can map, right? The amount of currency that it takes to get her rolling is very minimal, right? Like as soon as you get your swords crafted with your damage per attack for dexterity, after that it's literally just stacking as much dex as you can, resistances that you need, things of that nature, right? So the investment's not a whole lot. Day 2, day 3, I was highly invested, or I had maybe 200 FE in it, and I was done. Right, I'm farming currency after that. I'm trying to kill bosses. I'm trying to get things to drop so I can get my next build started. Right, so I really hope they don't make any changes to her because season 3, this will be a very good uh, league start build that doesn't take a whole lot of currency. It's not so overpowered that you're doing like crazy boss fights with minimal cost or anything like that. So I really hope they don't do any changes to her, and I will probably most likely be starting some season 3 as long as they don't. Um, just because of the investment, right? So that's the reason. All right, build number 2 is the Seething Rehan, right? So I picked this one because, as you can see from the gameplay here in a second, that it's sting, but you attack while moving, right? So it's an upgrade from the cat build because instead of having to stop to attack, I can just sit here and I can attack like so with my leap slam and do very good damage. Now, if I get to a boss, I sit still and you can see I'm doing up to 1 billion damage real quickly. Um, as far as costs go, whenever I created the build, I think this was like day 4, day 5 of the league. It was around 11-1200 FE to get the full build going. Um, it does rely heavily on some very specific uniques, right? So, future burnt offering, your seething spirit will always exist. We do have to have this for our seething to be up and attacking. If you don't have this, it's not going to feel nowhere near as good as we currently do right now. You will have to stop to attack and kill things, and that's just not fun, right? The whole point is to move through the map as fast as possible and kill things, right? So not quite an auto bomber, but good enough to get the job done without having to stop and attack every little pack of mobs. The other unique that you're going to want to keep you from having to stop and do things is the Infinity Belt. We're going to want Warcry cast immediately, right? So if we take a big hit, cast a Warcry, we start healing. Can cast our other Warcries for damage while we're still moving, right? We don't have to stop, cast, and then continue moving. We can do this all while we're moving, right? You're going to want this for it's not super necessary, right? There are other ones that are good, but Formless is a really good one just because your Warcry effects and everything else um, really increase your damage output, right? And then you're going to want a Varagon Shroud just because of the stacked tenacity blessings and everything else. Um, Good armor, good life, right? Going Fool's Crown just for physical damage right here. And it's very nice increase to the circular killing that we're using. So not too bad. This Guttural the Drowned, we're going to get it with this corruption on it so that any damage we take will be considered severely injured, right? Which makes us immune from being killed for 8 seconds on an 8 second cooldown, right? So we get hit, it won't kill us, and as long as we don't get hit again within the 8 seconds, we'll be fine. You take a hit, another big hit in the 8 seconds, you're most likely going down. But after 8 seconds, you got immunity again, basically, right? So outside of that, we're doing fervor effect, tenacity blessings, and circular killing. So the reason why this is my number 2 is because we invested a little bit more money. We have to rely a little bit more on uniques. There's definitely one unique that the future burns offering, right? That this whole build relies on. You have to have this for this build to work. So that's the reason why it's in my number 2, is because it relies strictly on having specific technique just for the build to start itself, right? Um, but outside of that, you're leap slamming through the whole map. You're killing things as you leap slam. So it was an upgrade from Erika because I didn't have to stop to kill packs, right? So just continue leap slamming through the whole map. Everything else dies around us, especially if you get like a good explode on your hero relic or anything like that. It's just clearing the whole map as you leap slam, which increased our farm speed, right? It was a little bit more currency than the Erika, right? But as you can see, I'm doing 1 billion damage. I was farming T8s easily, efficiently, no problems, and I was killing bosses without any problems at all. So there's a little bit more money, but we were able to push into T8s, farm, all the stuff we wanted to farm, juice content, everything like that. Able to kill all the bosses, right? So it wasn't like a very big costly exchange. 1200 FE on day 5, right? Because everything's still pretty expensive. You can get this whole build for pretty cheap now. But to be able to do all content basically 1200 FE and still have an incredible map farmer is just too good to pass up, right? So that's what our second character is. And the reason why he's number 2 is because he's a little more investment than our Erika, but he still gives us things we wanted. We don't want to stop to kill packs. We just zoom through the map. We were able to push T8 content. We were able to push bosses, juicing content, all that stuff with no problem. So that's why he's made his way to number 2. All right, so here we are. The final build that I've played this league that I consider one of the best, right? And the reason why it's number 3 is because of the cost of this build. So this build is very costly, right? As you can see from a lot of my gear, going +2 support on the helmet, 14% war effect, which is a restless slam. It's going to be a sealed mana, which is an ominous slam. It does need the aura stacking boots on the end game, right? I haven't got them yet, just because I've kind of dwindled on my farming here in the past couple of days. Become pretty lazy on the game. Plus, the Hogwarts Legacy came out, so I've been kind of splitting my time up between the two. But it does take the 500 FE aura stacking boots, right? Want Focus Stride on the Infinity Belt, got Restless Glaciers, got some very, very, very highly costly wands, right? So Chance to Deal, which is Restless, another Ominous Slam here, and everything else. So it gets pretty expensive very quickly, right? We're also relying on some very expensive hero traits that I don't have, but you want movement speed, you want plus to max fusion energy on all 3 of these, plus a good, T1 hero memory effect. So it's very expensive build, right? But you get to just hold one button and run through maps, right? Don't have to stop. Don't really have to cast anything. Not doing 1 billion damage on it yet because I'm missing a couple of things. Oh, I am. It's nice. But you can see I'm just holding one button. I'm not really pressing anything else. If I decide to go farm some bosses or anything, then obviously I cast some things. But literally just holding one button and running through maps. And the better hero memory effects you get for your relics, the faster she'll move. Once you get the aura stacking boots, the faster she'll move, right? So it's very nice. For the cost for me was worth it, just so I could hold one button down, clear maps, not even think about what I'm doing really. So we're using Path of Flames. I put 4-star in mine just so I can force my energy shield to start to heal in case I take a big hit. But it really does rely on some expensive stuff, right? So Precise Cast while channeling isn't as expensive, but the first couple of days, week into the game, it is up there. Selfishness, Stand as One are pretty expensive the first week into the game, but Precise Seal is super expensive. and you're going to need it. You're going to use all of the auras. You know, you can see how much life I've got, high energy shield. But if you don't get this precise seal, you are not stacking nowhere near auras, which doesn't help because if you go to get the aura boots, then you're not even going to activate them because you need at least 6 to activate the boots, right? Get 60-ish or so percent aura effect if you have affected by 6. Rigid domain doesn't count because that's for enemies. So you need the precise seal to get that. So it heavy relies on a lot of expensive pieces to make it work. But you can do all content, right? All content holding one button. There's nothing that beats that. Speed really just depends on how good your hero memories and your hero relic is, right? You got like a T1 hero memory effect, then you're zooming, right? So mine's not as fast as it can be just because I don't have a T1 hero memory effect, right? Um, and the reason why I put this as number 3 is simply because I don't have to stop and click, right? There are some very expensive builds out there that do exactly what she's doing, clearing all content, just completely disappearing things, right? Very, very high billions of damage, like the Carino Wilt stacking build, but you have to stop the fire, right? So for me, this build is the very top. I don't have to cast a thundercloud over my head. I don't have to stop mid-map to cast another thundercloud over my head, right? I'm literally holding one button and just running through the map. And for me, the cost was worth it, right? Because I can just go, right? I don't have to do anything. Just click and go. So that's the top 3 builds that I've played this league, right? There are build guides out there for these builds. I'm not going to make content on the build guides themselves. I will answer any questions and I will point you in the right direction if you have any questions about any of the builds, right? But they were created by creators and I'm not going to steal their content. So if you have any questions about any of the builds, I'll point you in the right direction and I'll answer whatever questions that I know the answers to, just because, you know, I've created the builds, I've made the builds, so I went through the same process that the creators did, right? So I have no problems doing that, but I won't show build guides or anything like that because they're not my builds. So yeah, those are the top 3. Reason why I picked them, right? Good league starter, doesn't cost me a whole lot, very quick mapper. And I'm sorry, but if like you're playing Moto and you're doing 1 map and I'm doing 5 maps, you're not doing enough, right? Moto is a boss killer to me, and that's the reason why he didn't make the list. If I was doing boss farming or if that was my strategy, then obviously Moto would have made the list because he is the perfect boss farmer, right? You don't have to worry about dying or anything like that. But if I'm doing 1 map or if I'm doing 5 maps at the same rate that you're doing 1 map, and we're talking about making currency, I'm way right. So that's the reason why he didn't make the list. And a couple of the other ones, like the Carino wilt stacking, right? It's a very nice build. It's super costly, just as probably as costly as the Gemma build, but you have to stop the click. That's what bothered me, right? I love bow builds coming from Path of Exile. They were my favorite, but that's always been the issue: stopping to click it, kill everything, go forward, stop, click, right? I wanted something that I could just blast through the map, never stop, kill everything in my path, right? Which is the reason why I went with the Gemma build instead of, you know, the Thundercloud Gemma or, you know, Carino wilt stacking or anything like that. So these are the top 3 builds that I've played this league. Thanks for checking out the video. Much love. I hope you like it. If you, like I said, if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to me to lead you in the right path for guides on these builds, make sure you comment down below. Make sure you like, subscribe. Thanks for checking out the video. Much love.